What's going on, y'all? It's me, Isaiah, and I'm back. And we're reading chapter 3 of Kizuna Hikari's Young and Overintelligent. Look at this, check this out. Cool story. You're gonna laugh. I accidentally recorded the wrong screen for this first part. So don't worry. I do notice it and I go back and I make the necessary changes, but yeah, I did do that. I still did do that. That was very fun. That was very fun to find out. Um So yeah, I go back and redo it. So hope you guys enjoy the second intro that I'm gonna do. And yeah. I just read oh my god, I'm so stupid. I just read I read all of this and I wasn't on the right page. I was on the other fanfic. Because I was like, I never looked at my viewfinder, my preview, and I didn't notice that it wasn't moving when I was scrolling. I was like, huh, that's weird. And then I looked at the top of the screen and it said everything is embarrassing. And I was like, oh, fuck. Alright, so you didn't miss anything. Alright, so Sasuke woke up. Let's recap. Sasuke woke up with Naruto like caressing him, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm nervous." Jumped up and was like, "Hey, I gotta go." Naruto said, "Hey, I want to teach you my Fireball Jutsu." And then Sasuke is like, "Okay, sure, you can teach me your Fireball Jutsu another time." Then he had to scramble with when that time would be. Turns out it was a week later. Naruto's talking to Konohamaru, and oh, sorry. I'm tripping. They're talking about the Fireball Jutsu, and then Sasuke mentioned something like, "You'll have to show me in a fight." Naruto was excited because he's like, "Oh my god, we get to fight." Then Sasuke was like, "Ah, shit, now I gotta agree to fight him." And so they agreed to have a fight. This is a week later. Sasuke shows up at Naruto's house, and they head out to a secluded part somewhere in the forest, which is cool because it kind of talks. That's kind of like how they do in the actual canon. And they fight. And so we're in the middle of the fight. Nothing really. Sasuke is just lamenting on his past actions and like, oh shit, man, I feel bad fighting Naruto, knowing that I tried to kill him. And he's like having a little bit of like guilt and it's distracting him in the battle. There's no ninjutsu, so he can't use his Sharingan, he can't use his Rinnegan. Naruto cannot use Kuruma's powers, and he can't use Shadow Clones. And this is them boxing. And he's also remarking how Naruto's Taijutsu is a lot better, because honestly it is. Taijutsu is pretty, his taijutsu was not really up to par with Sasuke's. With this, he was forced to think about the times he had attempted to take Naruto's life, and he couldn't help. He couldn't help it as he threw a kunai and it lodged safely into Naruto's bicep. I mean, that doesn't feel good either. A mile away from vital areas he would have been aiming for years ago. The thought made him sick, like he should never wield a Chidori again. It's almost made him. Can he do Chidori? He can apply lightning to his weapons and shit, but isn't his Chidori arm gone? And don't you need to have it in like your dominant hand, his left hand? Or is that just Naruto? I think that might just be Naruto. It almost made him miss catching Naruto's fist before he made contact with his jaw. Dumb. Stop thinking about all this shit and pay attention to the fight. Hadn't he just been telling himself how detrimental it was to underestimate this ninja, especially without his Sharingan activated? Sasuke couldn't afford to not have. Oh, but Naruto. One thing about Naruto, when he fights Sasuke, he will always get a sneak in there. He's always gonna get somehow. That motherfucker's gonna get him a punch. He's gonna get a punch in on Sasuke. Every time. He always tricks him, even with the Sharingan. It's always like a diversion attack with a clone, and then Naruto, say it's a poof of smoke, he'll come out of the poof of smoke and punch Sasuke. Like it's always some like, oh shit trick. Back by assessing the scene, surveying the situation had backfired on him, and when he noticed how light Naruto's punches felt in his hand, he knew what Naruto's punch was supposed to feel like. He cursed himself. That had not been what he intended to do by assessing the scene. It was a stupid thing to think about, because Naruto's other fist was coming. Sasuke panicked for a moment when he automatically tried to catch that one too, only to remember he didn't have another hand to do that with. So, all he could do was tilt his head to the side, and the fist just grazing his ear as it continued to whiz by, bringing Naruto's face in close, and it's too close. Oh! Their lips smashed together. Of course they did. Just and Sasuke was trying to squash the nostalgia. Because they kissed in the. Naruto's eyes opened wide. Oh fuck! Awkward. Naruto's eyes open. This is so funny because, like I said in my has to be deleted video, this is such a stark contrast to the other fic that I'm reading, which is everything is embarrassing. Who made it? Who made it? Let me see real quick. Oh shit, I can't see. I don't want to scroll all the way up and lose my place there. But it's kind of funny, like the stark difference, because in the other one, Naruto's like, it's like they're wet mouth kissing and all this shit like every 2 seconds, and then in this one, it's like they're like, oh my god, you touched me while you were asleep. Oh my god, I'm pregnant. Naruto's eyes open wide. He supposed so were his own. His lips felt the same as he remembered. Right? Which was not something that he had let himself think about in years. The impact hurt from the force of it, but somehow the pain was too far back in his mind to register. They stayed together for a moment, both of them freezing from the absurdity. There's nothing else to do but pull apart, which they did with an embarrassing wet noise. Naruto's hands immediately came up to his covered, victimized lips, pulling the one that had been in Sasuke's clutch away. Sorry. Feeling the heat on his cheek, Sasuke stood straight up, began to wipe at his own with what he had hoped was dignity. His one finger lingered against the skin there, staring pointedly at Naruto's face. Why does this keep happening to us? Naruto lamented dramatically. I've kissed you more times than I kissed anyone else. Shut up, dumbass. Sasuke scorned. He didn't bring up the fact that Naruto was the only person he had ever kissed three times now. They're including the canon the filler where Naruto and Sasuke kissed when their arms were conjoined to this one thing. We're gonna count it too. Studio Period really wanted us to have that second kiss. How could he could feel his own heart beating too loudly in his chest for the amount of exercise he'd gotten. Swallowing thickly, Sasuke forced himself to walk over to collect the shuriken, and they were launched into the ground. They were launched in the ground a few feet away from them. I guess we're all done, Naruto said uneasily behind him. Trying to hide his own embarrassment, Sasuke mumbled. There's no sense in fighting until there's a winner between us, with only fire-style taijutsu. We'd be here until sunrise. Next week? Laughing nervously, Naruto nodded. Yeah, but next time I'll beat you senseless, Sasuke. Just you wait. The uncomfortable knot in Sasuke's stomach unclenched slightly at this, and he found himself able to smirk back. Alright, what's going on, me? Like you could. A few hours later, minutes from sleep in Naruto's sinfully soft bed, Sasuke's finger brushed against his lips again. What's going on? I liked it. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. He was like, oh, I'll fuck with it. Right. Trying to hide his own embarrassment, Sasuke mumbled. Ooh. This time, when he woke up, Naruto's arm haphazardly hung over him. He was able to calmly assess himself. Once again, he marveled at how comfortable sleeping in his bed was, and how even the awkwardness of being so close to someone else ebbed away when encased in its plushiness. I love how, like, throughout this, you see Sasuke have, like, say these very, like, revealing things, but not understand it, or not, like, subconsciously say revealing shit. Because I said this before in one of my analysis of, like, how their relationship works is Sasuke will say things that are, like, overly romantic, or he'll say something that is very emotional or very touchy, but it feels like he doesn't even realize what he's saying half the time. So, like, in this, he'll say something like he longs for Naruto to be here in this moment, and because on surface it's because he's with Sakura, but a little bit behind it is more he just wants to spend time with Naruto, right? But on surface he's like, oh well, I'm with Sakura and this is getting awkward and shit like that, you know. Sorry. Like, just read, motherfucker. I ain't here for the analysis. He could feel the length of Naruto's leg against the back of his own. Sasuke's back was against the mattress, while his bottom half was on its side. I'm trying to envision that. Huh? Wait. Naruto's flat on his stomach. Okay, I'm missing a section, that's why. No, I'm not. He can feel the length of Naruto's leg against the backs of his own. Okay. Sasuke back. Fuck, what am I doing right now? Cut. We're gonna cut that. He could feel the length of Naruto's leg against the backs of his own. Sasuke's back was against the mattress. I don't know why that's so hard to read. While his bottom half was on its side. His spine twisted, though comfortable. Naruto's flat on his stomach, and aforementioned armed over Sasuke's stomach as aforementioned leg bent in along the curve of Sasuke's. It was clingy, but the way Naruto was sprawled like the dead, he wouldn't really call it intimate. It was a bit of a stretch to turn his head. Sasuke repositioned his leg upwards and so that he could turn himself to take in Naruto's sleeping face, and he was snoring. But it wasn't overtly obnoxious. His eyes were shut delicately and his lips were slightly open, barely moving in time with each snuffling. My nose is just doing a thing right now. Sorry. I sound more nasally than I naturally do. You heard that, I'm sorry. I'll cut it out. Sasuke swallowed something in his throat, remembering how those lips had connected with his only a night before. It didn't say that, but I just connected it. I said it. He had never put any thought into kissing. The entire idea was such a foreign concept to him, even now. He didn't understand how everyone else around him was so obsessed with stuff like that. It always seemed like such an appealing thing to do. All that love shit was forced upon him as a kid with every new girl that he met. Even now, one of his reasons Sasuke couldn't remove his hood in his other towns was in fear of attracting the attention of all the women in the tavern who insisted on bothering him, regardless of how coldly he treated them. It always disgusted him how these girls made themselves so willingly vulnerable. Even in the midst of battle, sometimes it was senseless. Yeah, you know how it is. Naruto was the only person he had ever kissed, 3 times now. Each of those times had been a complete accident. The first 2 were hazy to him. It's been so long. He had been convinced that he hated Naruto back then, so of course he convinced himself that he had hated the kisses. They were certainly awkward at the time, but after last night he was forced to realize that kissing didn't feel too bad. Which was strange to say because the force of it was definitely painful. He had a bruise on the inside of his lip where his teeth hit. But there had also been a weird electric jolt that he couldn't deny. It was stupid of him to think about, but that had to be why everyone else seemed so concerned with kissing. It did feel good, as he supposed it would feel. Better if he hadn't smacked into each other hard enough to bruise, but you know, what you can do. The arm on his waist didn't feel too bad. Either. It was such a pointless thing. He thought to be so physically close to another person. He thought back to the way Sakura had always hugged him. When Cutting would drape herself over him, and when other strange women would try to caress his arm. Never felt good, just awkward and stifling. Naruto, for some reason, didn't bother him. It's 'cause you're fucking gay. Curiously, Sasuke rested his arm over Naruto in the same way he had done in his sleep the last week. They allotted perfectly. He could feel the way his hands splayed over Naruto's in the pit of his stomach, which made absolutely no sense. Thankfully, the contact wasn't skin to skin. It was Naruto's right bandage head, the one that was reconstructed for him out of Hashirama sauce. He contemplated for a minute, wondering if there'd be a difference if contact to skin to skin, if it was contact to skin to skin, it was a dumb thing to think about. So, he turned his attention back to Naruto's lips. That was even more stupid. Why would he care to look at Naruto's lips? And what purpose did kissing someone even serve? What was there to truly gain from kissing someone? He supposed he had to concede that there must be pleasure attached to it because he had felt it last night. But, honestly, what good did giving into such a mundane pleasure do? Well, some pleasures were worth it. Hadn't he been making excuses to come back to Konoha just to sleep in his bed. But this pleasure was different. Rest was an important part of life, and it helped the healing after a battle of replenishing chakra. He always felt so much better after his nights in Naruto's bed. Huh. Alright. Say what you need to say. This kind of pleasure had real world benefits, but kissing? Well, kissing is something substantial. Maybe you should test it out. Maybe you should try. Maybe you should, get in there, find out. Investigate, Mr. Detective Ninja. Go on a mission on those lips. Still, people did it. The pleasure with no physical gains to atone for it. It even made them weak, didn't it? How easy it would be to distract someone by kissing them so they didn't see the blade or the knife you're thrusting into their stomach. Wow, you really got to turn everything dark and disgusting, don't you? It was really, honestly, truly such a stupid thing for people to do. By the way, I'm gonna fucking kiss you. He leaned forward and pressed his lips curtly onto Naruto. I was right. Am I a sidekick? His chest filled with air. Without his conscious decision, Naruto's mouth was soft and incredibly soft. Someone told me that too. Like, my ex. She told me that. I was like, alright. What were you expecting? Fucking rock hard? My shit could have been crusty. My shit could have been crusty at the time, so hey. Got lucky. And he didn't know what to do about that information. It certainly did feel good to press their lips together, with the purpose instead of accidentally smashing into each other. He pulled back, slowly. But he could still feel burning even after they separated. What was it? Was it some kind of chakra exchange? How could the simple press of flesh like this give such a visceral reaction? And then Naruto made a sound, a low hum and a groan. Sasuke hastily pulled further back. Did he wake up? He froze, waiting for the blue eyes to open. They never did. Instead, Naruto sighed, nuzzling deeper into his pillow. Sasuke found that he couldn't relax. What he was thinking, kissing Naruto like that? What did he gain from that? A second of pleasure? And then nothing but confusion. He had answered none of his questions. Instead, he had about 1,000,000 more. Also, weird as hell. No sleep kissing people. What's wrong with you? Now you think you was a prince? He removed Naruto's arm from around him, placing it gently on the bed so as to not wake him up. He was able to lift himself up until he was standing, though he felt almost lightheaded from doing so. Kissing did make you weak. Kissing did make you weak. He had changed into his day clothes and was 2 seconds from opening the window to leave when he made a mistake of turning back to see Naruto still sprawled on the bed. The one arm found its position over the ghost of where Sasuke's body had been. He was snoring louder now. His lips opened and closing in an even motion. Damn it all. He had forced himself to turn away from jumping out the window. 20 minutes later, he returned with a small bag of groceries. Oh, we're getting to where I came in and I read a short paragraph because I remember exactly what happens where he's cooking. That hadn't been his intention at all, and he had told himself to leave, but then he found himself outside of the market in town. Outside a market in town. The image of... Wait, how did he go to a market and not get noticed? I guess it's because he's in the roof. The image of Naruto passed out in his bed with his arms reaching out over the empty spot haunting him. He remembered last night coming back to Naruto's apartment with nothing to eat but those damn cups of ramen. Upon entering the shop, he had told himself that it was time to stock up for his trip. But it wasn't like eggs were a practical thing to travel with. So delicate, soft. So he set himself to work preparing an actual breakfast, cooking the rice, boiling the fish, scrambling the eggs, spinach and green onions, and the eggs. Give that idiot something actually good for his body. Sighing to himself, he wondered when was the last time Naruto had an actual breakfast cooked in his apartment. Was Sasuke? Turning around to see Naruto standing bleary-eyed in the doorway, Sasuke instructed briskly. Get us something to eat. Get us something to eat, son. Naruto rushed for chopsticks and bowls, and honestly, the fact that he didn't even have an actual plate in his apartment was concerning. I don't have plates. I eat out of like those Tupperware bowls, but I can't do that anymore because I dropped one and it cracked. And goodbye Tupperware bowls. Anyway, so who eats on a plate? That's so fall off. Anything can fall off. I'm a big portion guy. I eat massive portions. Okay, so. Plates don't work for me. Maybe in like a corporate in a office setting, I'm gonna be like, oh, let me get a little bit. Nah, I'm playing. Actually, no, I don't. That's stuff. Actually, a coworker of mine made curry chicken for everyone. Jamaican curry chicken. I'm Jamaican, by the way. Half. Took a big ass plate of that motherfucker and left. I thanked her and everything. I'm not completely mannerless. And my boss bought us pizza, but like when I say boss bought us pizza, we're not talking like, oh, you get like a quarter of a half slice. No, I mean like you get a whole box. I have a whole box in my fridge. She bought us like whole pizzas. And we had that, ate it, laughed, had good times, went home. Good times. I love my job. Deadass. If I made crazy money on TikTok, YouTube, whatever, I would still deadass be working that job. 100%. Instead of buying a few pair of reusable ones, he was just confusing. He bought chopsticks that weren't reusable. I already read this. No way, he's saying excitedly as he hurried to the table. You should sleep over more often if you're gonna cook breakfast. Sasuke rolled his eyes, scooping rice into one of the bowls. It's kind of weird to me that you can cook. Clicking his tongue, Sasuke furrowed his brows. Why is that weird? He rubbed the back of his head. Well, I mean, when did you learn it? Sasuke didn't let himself freeze up at the question. Instead, moving forward to place the bowl at the table. Taught myself. It's part of learning to be self-sufficient. He knocked the back of his knuckles on Naruto's skull. Something you desperately need to learn, dumbass. Hey, oi. I just don't like saying oi. Oi doesn't sound characteristic. Hey, I'll just say hey. Hey, he whined in response, not rubbing the spot Sasuke had hit. Oh, that's so cute. Hey. I look dark. I look scary. Sorry. I'm self-sufficient. Scoffing. Sasuke made a point to open Naruto's fridge, and it was barren, save for a bottle of milk and the same 3 condiments from 2 months ago. Naruto simply looked on in confusion, so then he opened Naruto's pantry cupboard with a plethora of cup ramen. Oh, where a plethora of cup ramen rests. Okay, sorry. Pursing his lips, Naruto tilted his head. Are you looking for something? Shoulders slumping. Oh, he did like the... Huh? Are you looking for something? Shoulders slumping, Sasuke let it drop before he became too emotionally invested. If anything, the old man at Ichiraku's is probably ensuring that Naruto was eating properly, whether or not the idiot was aware of it or not. As he sat to eat his bowl, Naruto had already wolfed half of his own down. Man, I should make you cook breakfast for me every time you sleep over. You owe me, right? I mean, you're sleeping in my bed. It's only fair. Oh shit, Sasuke glared at him, evenly for a moment, sizing him up. He had been joking. Of course, but the fact still remained. Sasuke knew to play it carefully. Start washing your sheets once a week. Maybe I'll think about it. Blinking in surprise for a moment, Naruto was quick to complain. You don't even show up once a week. You should be washing them once a week anyway, Sasuke rebutted. I don't do that. Should I do that? Is that a thing? I should do that. Damn it. You think you can't see the rest of this? Anyway, you should. Pensive Naruto offered. How about you send me a message when you're gonna be in town, and I'll wash them before you come. Like Sasuke knew or planned, he was going to come back to the village. No. Sasuke! You should be washing your sheets once a week anyway, he repeated, but because it was true, and Naruto should have responded properly to it. Shouldn't matter if somebody else. Shouldn't matter if somebody. Shouldn't matter if someone is. It shouldn't matter if someone else is sleeping in them. Indignant, Naruto sat back up in his chair, poking at his breakfast. I always take a bath before bed. I can't get that dirty if I'm clean when I sleep in them. Thinking back to the color of the pillows, Sasuke shook his head. They can wash them? They can wash them? If I do, will you come back more often? Sasuke's eyes flashed to him. His chest felt heavy as he took Naruto's expression. His blue eyes were wide with hopefulness, but still cautionary, like he knew what he was asking is something risky. Dropping his gaze, Sasuke took in the fullness of Naruto's bottom lip, jutting. Huh? Took in the fullness, jutting out in a pout. Huh? Sasuke took in the fullness of Naruto's bottom lip, jutting out in a pout. Out in a pout. His throat worked itself over harshly at the sight. Like that. I think I just did it accidentally. They even looked soft. Staring at them, the ghost of the electric surge tingled his own lips. He forced himself to look anywhere but there. The damage was already done, though. Resigned, Sasuke did his best to fight whatever blood was trying to come up to his face or somewhere else. Now think about it. Naruto's smile felt so much more personal when it was closed. Yeah. He would find any excuse to grin at everyone around him, teeth wide and baring, exuberant, that warmth and fiery energy. While those grins were Naruto's signature, it was the moments when he would smile soft, genuine, that were hard for Sasuke to deal with. He took another bite of his meal, and then you'll cook brain. And then you'll cook me breakfast again. And then you'll cook me breakfast again, right? Choking on his food, Sasuke forgot himself and spat back. Said maybe. But Sasuke did end up cooking for Naruto again on his next visit on the following week, and the week after that, and the week after that too. Without realizing it had become a ritual that he couldn't escape. Once a week he showed up to Naruto's window that they would go out for a late night spar, where Sasuke would get the only full night's sleep since the week prior, and then he would wake up, go to the market, and cook them breakfast. Eventually a month had passed. Sasuke had begun to force Naruto to participate in cooking. This led Sasuke to tailoring their meals to determine which skills he wanted to instill in this hopeless blonde this week. Naruto, it turned out, was not great at cooking. Really. Shocker. Not that Sasuke was surprised, but he had been hoping that he loved food enough to know that eggs were not supposed to catch on fire. Sasuke hadn't even known that was possible. Turns out Naruto really did grow up eating solely a cup of ramen and red bean soup. They were eating in silence one morning when Naruto asked aimlessly, "Do you remember when we tried to see what Kakashi-sensei's face looked like under his mask?" Sasuke almost choked on his miso. He remembered back to the dinner last month and felt immensely uncomfortable. What made you think of that? Sighing, Naruto explained. We took him to Ichiraku's to see if he took it off while he ate, and sometimes I think about it while I'm eating. That was a great little thing. Was that filler? I think it was, yeah. But still, awesome episode. He waited for Naruto to continue. Didn't one of them actually get it right? What? Wasn't one of the depictions right? Because they said, oh, what if he had a mole? And it was like right at the corner of his mouth. And they were right. Like they actually did guess his face. Just remember that. Sorry. Well, I've eaten with him loads of times, and I still haven't seen him without his mask on. Even though I was trying to sneak a peek, Naruto explained with a whine in his voice, which is a little surprising to Sasuke. Did Kakashi never take his mask off? But I think I know he does. It. He just removes the mask for a moment, too quick for the normal eye to see. Sasuke interrupted. He doesn't do anything special. Suddenly, Naruto's hand smacks the table, startling him. So you have seen Kakashi-sensei's face. You've used your Sharingan. Sighing, Sasuke shook his head, trying to fight off the slight heat coming to his face. I've never felt compelled to. I've just seen his hand flinch and food disappear. Don't lie, Sasuke. I know you're curious. I know you peeked. You have your Sharingan. It's probably so easy for you. Sasuke found himself growing smaller in his seat. Naruto stood up, pointed aimlessly at him. Haha, you have! Tell me, what his actual face looks like? Shit, clenching his jaw, Sasuke refused to meet Naruto's eye. He thought back to the dinner of the previous month, when he had already been angry at his old teacher, and just wanted to be spiteful. And yeah, okay, he'd be lying to himself if he said that he wasn't curious after all these years. He'd also be lying if he said he'd never tried to use his Sharingan in the past for that explicit purpose. The difference now is that with Rinnegan always activated, he could see it whether he wanted to or not. It wasn't like Kakashi could notice a difference in Sasuke when he was utilizing a Rinnegan. If it was any consolation, he had more questions after seeing his old teacher's face than before. Why in the hell is Kakashi covering up his face if he didn't have any kind of disfigurement? You could feel him fully blushing as he revealed he has a mole. Making a noise of intense amazement, Naruto urged him on. A mole? Is it huge? Does it have a whole bunch of hairs on it? Does he wear a mask to cover up because it's so gross? But no, it's just a normal mole, Sasuke described before realizing that he shouldn't do that. Changing his tactics, he goaded. Can't you go into sage mode or something to see for yourself? It was like the simple thought had never dawned on him. Sage mode? Raising an eyebrow at him, Sasuke watched the puzzle pieces fit together in Naruto's mind. He knew that Naruto's Sage Mode gave him a speed boost, so it would only make sense that he'd also be able to utilize that to help him see Kakashi's movements easily. Oh, Naruto screamed. I can't believe... Oh! Naruto screamed. I can't believe I never thought of that! I should invite him to lunch today and it'd be worth buying a bowl of ramen. The obvious flaws in Naruto's plan were too blatant. If he really thought it would be easy as simply going into Sage Mode at the right moment, Sasuke had a duty to squander his hope before he did something foolish to try to act on it. That theory won't work in practice. Kakashi would be able to see your eyes and know that you're up to him. What you're up to. He'd find a way around it. It never worked for me before because he always knew when I was attempting to catch him. How did you get him with the Sharingan then? My Rinnegan is always activated. It's not as good as the Sharingan in catching movement, but it's enough. And nothing changes when I use it. That would have alerted him. So how does this work? I'm trying to think, like, how would this work physically in the real world? Like, is it not so much that they see slow motion, even though they say the Sharingan is, you see it like slow, like you can see his movements and after images and shit like that. You kind of predict where his arm is going and shit. That's cool, but like, trying to think, is his brain processing it like that, or does he actually see it that way? You know, like, does your brain just analyze it slower? Like your brain just, because your brain, it moves slow, but what is happening is your brain is moving fast to overanalyze the movement to predict what's going to happen. So similar like Sage Mode. Sage Mode can kind of see where the person is going to hit. It gives like a clairvoyance type of thing. So he can dodge attacks. It also makes it so it's super easy for him to even counter lightning time attacks like the Raikage, right? So is it more like he sees it in normal speed or slow motion? Or does his brain analyze it in a slower, in so fast that it looks slow? You get what I'm saying?
Nope.
I can do that. I can do it really quickly with my shadow clones, Naruto assured. Then turned to look pensive. I would just need to distract him for a bit, so he didn't see my eyes. Sasuke's heart started to thump in his chest. Surely this would be a moment. Maybe I can get Sakura. His chest fell in relief. He had been waiting all month for Naruto to ask why he hadn't visited anyone else in the village, especially after that dinner. why he had been to Konoha once a week for over a month but hadn't seen Sakura or Kakashi. This is actually a real thing that's stated by the staff who work in Naruto. Just saying. It's a real thing he says, that Naruto says to Sasuke. But hadn't seen Sakura or Kakashi. Frankly, he had been waiting for Naruto to say something about how often he was coming, but he hadn't even mentioned that. Sasuke had been nervous, but for some reason he hadn't yet come close to initiating another Team 7 outing like he had feared, nor pressuring him to have that conversation with Sakura. Regardless of the relief he felt, he couldn't stop the way he squinted at Naruto. It didn't make sense why he had avoided bringing such things up. Perhaps he had caught on to the fact that Sasuke didn't want to be pestered with it. If that was the case, then good. Pushing the thought aside, Sasuke continued. I don't think it's possible to get Kakashi that level of distracted. Humming, Naruto pondered. I just need more people and have a bigger distraction. Maybe Guy or Lee. They're always so loud. Pot, meet kettle. He'll be ignoring them anyway. You're right, he said, dejected. You're right. I'm trying to get my Naruto idioms down. He dejected before another idea came to him. Or maybe I could get both Sakura and Ino to have an argument over something. If you want to get caught in a blood battle, sure. Sasuke sighed. Well, then you come up with something. Rolling his eyes back, Sasuke set a spoon down in an almost empty bowl. It wouldn't matter who's speaking. Kakashi would immediately find it suspicious if you weren't a central part of the conversation like you always are. Any moment where you're being quiet is one of suspicion. Hey! Naruto yelled. Sasuke gave him a look. Certainly Naruto wasn't so self-unaware as to not know that. Despite himself, the cogs in Sasuke's brain started revving at the challenge. How to get Kakashi's guard down enough and that he wouldn't notice Naruto going into Sage Mode mid-meal. The obvious answers would work on most Chunin and lower ninja to transform into a different patron and observe from afar. But the idea that Kakashi wouldn't be clocking everyone in the room at all times was laughable. Even long before he became Hokage, Naruto's chakra signature was so distinct that there was no way Kakashi's keen nose wouldn't immediately know it was him. Genjutsu also was out of the question, with how adept Kakashi was at recognizing when he was in one. So he started weighing the strength and weaknesses for a mission. On one hand, the concept of Naruto choosing a mealtime to do something sneaky is pretty slim, as he was usually one-track minded about the food. On the other side of that same coin is that it would be out of character for him to stop eating for too long if it wasn't using that time to talk. The biggest distraction didn't need to be for Kakashi to not notice his eyes, but rather the rush of chakra that would come from Naruto activating his Sage Mode. Naruto would only have a moment. How could he do this? This is interesting. Despite himself, the cogs in Sasuke's brain started revving at the challenge. How to get Kakashi's guard down enough that he wouldn't notice Naruto going into Sage Mode mid-meal? The obvious answer would work on most Chunin and Ninja. This is different. I already read this. Oh. But if you would keep him distracted long enough and have chakra surge short enough, they might be able to pull it off. There would need to be a serious conversation happening that would get everyone's attention solely on the speaker. And deny any moment where Naruto speaking up would be normal. This way Naruto could pretend to be listening with no intention of interrupting, and Kakashi would be engaging enough to be analyzing solely on the speaker. But also not be such a participant in a conversation that he didn't eat. It was a contradiction within itself. But that would have to be the only way now to think of who would be able to have that kind of captivating conversation. Oscar. Fuck. No. There had to be somebody else. Someone had to have something going on in their life. Someone close enough to both Naruto and Kakashi to open up about something. The more he thought about it, the more his palms sweat. But no. Sakura. Yes, Sakura. Sakura would be the next best option. She could talk about... He let his eyes shut tight. He didn't like the idea of that. He didn't like that idea either, even if he wasn't hypothetically presented for it, and Naruto would talk to her beforehand. She would she would have to know what Naruto's true goals was, or she could accidentally compromise the mission. She would definitely punch him for wanting her open up and her feeling to them to be a distraction for such a stupid reason. Sakura would get nothing out of it either, because there would be no way Sakura's eyes would be quick enough to catch Kakashi's reveal in any situation. He conceded. There's really only one person who would be able to hold such a conversation. Frustrated with himself, Sasuke averted his gaze. It's not possible, he concluded. It's not possible. I said this seriously. It's not possible. Naruto, this will never work. It's not possible. There has to be someone who can distract him. He could feel his one eyebrow twitch in annoyance. There is, but it's not gonna happen. What do you mean? Frustrated, Sasuke let his bowl hit the table loudly. Someone has to have a conversation with the two of you that's sobering enough to make it seem like you're not eating. To make it seem like you're not eating or interrupting wouldn't be suspicious. The conversation would need to be deep enough to keep him invested, but not overly so that he stops eating. The person would also have to be close enough to both of you to open up in such a way, and someone Kakashi would actually pay attention to enough to speak. Only on the speaker. Focus only on the speaker. Blinking twice, Naruto slowly came to the conclusion. Close enough. He trailed off, but then he pointed his finger directly at Sasuke. You mean... It's not gonna be possible. It's not gonna happen. Sasuke shut down immediately. He was whining again. Come on, Sasuke, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he's never gonna let his guard down enough without you. It makes sense. He always watches you so closely. How he wishes Naruto wouldn't remind him of that. I'm not doing it. Childishly, Naruto crossed his arms firmly across his chest. Again, bottom lip jutting out. Not for the first time, Sasuke found he had a hard time looking away from him when he did that. He could see the conclusion. Looking for the conclusion, he could confusion Naruto was coming to moments before he landed there. He watched the gears in that blonde head rotate and grind their way to their destination. Sasuke swallowed thickly as Naruto leaned forward in his seat. You owe me, he asserted boisterously. You owe me! He could feel his face getting hot again, which he would not allow to happen. He turned again to the wall. He considered denying the fact that he responded angrily, as he so wanted to, that he did not owe Naruto anything and he was free to do whatever he pleased. But the words couldn't come out. The words couldn't come out, because they weren't true at all, and he did owe Naruto, and he owed Naruto too much. That sickly, burning feeling settled back in his chest. That feeling he hated most of the time. If it weren't for Naruto, Sasuke would... I've been letting you sleep in my bed for weeks, Sasuke. Sasuke was too stricken to move at first. Naruto, really? I don't have to. I could just make you get a room at the inn, you know. Did really? Sasuke's eyes fell shut again, calming and thumping up near his throat. He owed Naruto for being a hindrance of a guest is all. Logically, Sasuke could argue that he was already cooking breakfast every visit now for that. But in reality, Sasuke knew that he should take the excuse. Releasing the tension inside him with one quick breath, Sasuke dropped his shoulders. Fine. Naruto blinked, letting out a quiet, really? He hadn't expected it to work, and it was all Sasuke could do to not slam his face into his palms. Naruto being oblivious about what Sasuke owed him for was worse than if he was doing it on purpose. Whatever, Sasuke responded. Yes, Naruto exclaimed, standing up and punching the air. Tell Kakashi-sensei that he's taking us out for lunch. He was so quick to leave that Sasuke had to use his shinobi reflexes to catch his wrist before he left his apartment. Hey, we need more of a plan than that. What do you mean? Naruto stumbled as he was forced to turn back towards Sasuke. Naruto was always exhausting as it stands right now. It's out of character for me to be willing to go to lunch with you guys in broad daylight. It would make no sense if I'm not going to also invite Sakura. As it stands, it's out of character for me to be willing to go to lunch with you guys in broad daylight. It'll make no sense if I'm not going to also invite Sakura. We have to think about it from the perspective of me wanting to have a conversation with you guys. Otherwise, he'll get suspicious. Tilting his head, Naruto was unaware, as ever. I don't think so. I think he'd just be happy you're back in town. Shaking his head, Sasuke disagreed. That's how you would respond. Kakashi is more apprehensive of me. Apprehensive? Ignoring it before he had to explain that, too, Sasuke persisted. Do you have something I can write on? Naruto fetched him a small scroll of black paper and a pencil. He closed his eyes, thinking there was no way he'd be able to get around having to wait all day until nightfall. It would seem too desperate if he came during the day. Kakashi would be too focused on him and to actually be eating while talking. After he finished writing, he ripped off a bit of a scroll and handed it to Naruto, the note, which Naruto promptly read. He let out a small yelp as he bellowed. You took that long to write 2 sentences? I was thinking, Sasuke defended. I have something to discuss with Team 7. Meet me someplace quiet. This doesn't even mention anything about eating, Naruto protested, waving the little note around in emphasis. He clicked his tongue in annoyance before explaining. It would be out of character to suggest going out to eat together. You're gonna have to pretend to trick me into eating with the 3 of you. This would be a red herring to throw off any suspicion about what you're actually planning. Sakura chastised you for it, but Kakashi would play along. Kakashi would use his excuse to try and pin him down in one place for as long as he could. Pause. We'll wait until the actual meal before I start talking. Once I do, you'll have to be quick. If I talk for too long, it'll be suspicious. You also need to make sure to shut down Sakura when she inevitably asks for me to explain what I needed to talk to you about before the meal starts. Just act like you normally would and insist on waiting for food. The motivation would be that you don't want to dip on staying. You don't want to dip on staying for the meal after I said what I needed to. I don't think we should tell Sakura what you're up to. There's just another person I'd have to worry about messing things up. You would also have to find an excuse for her as to why he's humoring Naruto like this. This was more of a pain than it was worth. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you're quick at getting in and out of sage mode. I don't think anything longer than half a second will work. How great of a censor he is. Half a second? Can he even do that? Sasuke turned his gaze back to Naruto to see him sweating. Does it have to be so complicated? Can't we just say I invited you all out to eat? I would decline that. No one else knows I'm even in the country. Blue Eyes glaring at him. Huh? He spat back at them. Mumbling, Naruto kept squinting at him. This would be so much easier if you weren't so pissy and elusive. Blood beginning to boil, Sasuke confronted. Do you want me to help or not? Letting out a big sigh, Naruto admitted feebly. Yes. Then follow the plan, he demanded. Okay, Naruto conceded before grinning sheepishly. Can you go over it again just one more time? This is gonna be insufferable. Yeah. This is my fix, so I get to determine that the second kiss filler episode is canon. Also, don't kiss people in their sleep in real life, okay? It's just a fake. These are both things that I also said. The feels. Jesus, why is dumb Naruto so damn cute? Irresistible. I just noticed there are 25 chapters of this. I'm so ecstatic. Ecstatic! This is gonna take me a long time to do, actually, now that I think about it. This has me laughing hysterically and I love it. I'm more into dark and angsty, but I must admit that you got me here. You write them so well and it's super good. It is super good. It is super well. It is super well and good. It is well and good and super. So Sasuke's weekend needs for Naruto? Yes. But yes, guys, if you enjoyed this, like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you like about it. And I don't know what that was, sorry. Oh, this is fun. This is good. Good stuff right here. This is I like this. It's so smooth and small. It's so smooth and I like the pacing of it, you know? I'm not a reader, so seeing the long chapters is a little daunting at first, but once you get into it, I'm just like, damn. I kind of like, yeah, let's keep reading this. I did pause in like a middle section somewhere for like I think about a good hour. 'Cause now it's 11, and I came back. Because again, reading is not my strong suit, although I'm really good at it. I don't like it. Yeah, really good is stretch. But yeah, this is really fun. I really like this. Definitely going to read. Obviously, we're gonna read the rest. We're not getting to chapter 3 and saying fuck it. Gonna get on to chapter 4. People have been amping up chapter 4. They said that chapter is goated. They said the chapter is amazing. So I'm really excited to see what that chapter is talking about. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. TikTok audience, hope you enjoy it. We're gonna put the clips there, and hopefully this shit ends out nicely. Peace.